Conversation, 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 conversation. Life's journey. Hey, conversation, 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 conversation. Let's talk about it.
Hello, everyone. It's Conversations with Muji again. And I'm excited, as usual, to continue our topic on abuse. And I still have with us our dear sister, Mrs. Toyin Olayinka Sikwade. So welcome once again. Welcome to Conversations with Muji. And I'm very glad today you're looking really nice. And I like the background. I like the environment. Yeah.
Thank
you. So tell us. So we're going to start from now. We talked in the first episode, we talked about before the marriage and the courtship, a little bit about the courtship. So now we're going to be talking more about the marriage. How was it? I mean, because after a while, you decided to settle down with him. So how was it being married or being in that relationship?
Good afternoon. Hi. Thanks for having me on again. And thanks for picking on a very sensitive topic that most people don't talk about. They either talk about it or they're shamed into talking about it. And some people are just simply dead, so they can't talk about it. So thank you for covering such a sensitive topic. Continuing from where we picked up, I think in 2006 was when he had approached and said we should move. We needed a bigger place. And I was like, okay, it's funny. Yeah, I was just like, okay, but don't forget, I had experienced his violence, the choking.
Yes.
Because he begged so much, foolishly forgave him. And that was the beginning of that forgiving. When they beat you or you get into that fight with them, they have a tendency to come back with flowers and hard sex. Love-making section is beautiful. But then 2 weeks of lovey-dovey. And then it starts deteriorating again. It's a circle.
The cycle, yeah.
Yeah, very. People need to know it's a circle. And it repeats itself. And it's tough when people say, why didn't you leave? As we go on through the journey, you will understand that it wasn't by my choice not to leave. It was the apologies. I'm sorry. It will get better. Yeah, I'm sorry, to get better. But then left New Jersey. One thing that stood out was my girlfriend had seen us packing. That was how fast and quietly and silently it was done. I didn't even tell my own mother, or I didn't tell my family. That was how, I don't know what was going on. I don't know the word. Yeah, some people say, oh, you were in love. And I said, no, it wasn't love. I could see things happening, but I could not say no. That big word, I could not say no or stop. Whereas the younger Toyin would have said no, would have gone the other way. So, but this time around, I wasn't doing that. And I left with him. It looked willingly into the boonies of Pennsylvania, not Philadelphia. We were further in. And that was the kind of relationship that it became. And we got to a town called Whitehall, Pennsylvania. We settled down. My daughter had her own room and bathroom, that kind of a thing. And so we settled down. And my girlfriend now tells me, I saw you guys packing in Yoruba or Sokon Urukon, that kind of packing. Now looking back, I'm like, I gave me One day, one way out. Did not come back to anything. It
But
was that
you already had friends there. You already had your friends there.
in New Jersey, I was pretty
Yeah.
popular. I partied, I did the church thing, I did school, I walked there. So my community was there. My mother was there. Everybody was there.
So what would you, looking back, what would you say that is? In hindsight, would you say that was like separating you from
Yes, that was the beginning of the isolation.
isolation?
Now that I've gone through counseling, the whole thing, the past 5, 6 years, it was the beginning of the isolation. Separate and conquer.
Mm.
And he did it magnificently. Nobody could pick up on it. Even my close friend said, we questioned why you've been a nurse, you're successful, you were working. I was still driving from Pennsylvania to New Jersey till I got pregnant. I found out one day I was pregnant and my blood pressure was very high. And that was how the doctor was like, you're either going to stroke out or you're going to have a miscarriage or both you and the baby will die. And like all those things, you got to stop. You got to look for something to do in Pennsylvania. That was the beginning of cutting off New Jersey.
Wow.
Friends tell me now, we just noticed you left abruptly, like you died abruptly. It was very abrupt. And that was the relationship. Then once I got pregnant was when the real monster came out. So when you hear in the textbook, it says when a woman is pregnant, those are the most dangerous years of the woman. Most women are beaten or killed during pregnancy. Abuse is very high during pregnancy.
Oh.
Your abuser views you. You're vulnerable. You're not the same anymore. You're very weak also at that point. The pregnancy weighs you down.
Wow.
And after going as a professional, I started studying domestic violence because I could not say the word domestic violence until just about 2 years ago. I could not say it because I said, no, it can't be. Someone like me, well educated, well spoken, very social, talks, like
no one can bully me.
nobody can. I wasn't bullied in secondary school or primary school. Why would I be bullied now? So when you hear that, why did you not leave or why didn't you know? Millions of women are out there and some men are out there that will lie and put up a show, a face, make everything look good. Every culture, education does not stop it. Beauty does not stop it. Look at O.J. Simpson and Nicole. Being millionaires doesn't stop it. Look again at money. And I'm just still till today. I will play back and go, how did this happen to me? But then I said, why not me? Why question God? Some people said it was because I wasn't praying enough. I said, okay, but this same God created me.
Yes.
Some people said it was because you were in love. No, it was beyond that. It wasn't really love. And being pregnant was what exposed or showed his true self, as I said. I started hearing abusive words. See how ugly you are. In Yoruba, Obi ugly, Obi kwenche tobi to, Obi mu fe. My beautiful dose. So he would find all the things that he could weaken me with. And that was the beginning of the building block.
Wow.
So I wasn't able to fight back because I was pregnant. My daughter was 7. My daughter was 7 when I got pregnant, and she was pretty much the one that helped me. I would vomit and vomit violently. It would walk away. And my 7-year-old took care of me. My 7-year-old took care of me to the point that she called 911 several times. My mom is in the toilet. She's vomiting very much and making a lot of noise. And again, the cops came, paramedics came. I told them I was fine, and I was fine. And they would ask that question, are you being abused or being threatened or being beaten by anyone? The answer was always no. No.
But so the relationship continued and for years. But I know off camera you were telling me about, because I was asking you, were you legally married?
Yes. I like to state that status very clearly because this abuser could, what we heard him saying later on after the SWAT team came to get him out of the house in 2017, February or March. My abuser said he had left me, which was a lie, that I was prostituting, which was a lie, that, ashawo, which was a lie, and I was a bad person, which was a lie. So that was what we heard. That was the story he was telling outside. And that was part of the reason why I had gone on Facebook to tell my own side of the story, because we were living in the middle of a cornfield. We're surrounded by cornfields. So you look at it and you're like, who's gonna come rescue you?
Yeah.
But if I go back to when I was pregnant, by the time I was 8, 9 months, I was supposed to have the baby on May 29th, his birthday. May 22nd, all hell broke loose. As in the pushing, scared for my life and my baby's life. There was someone else that he had used my papers for. They won Visa lottery. He had used my papers for them to come in. He said they were his cousins. Only down the road to find out they were blood relatives. And mind you, me in Shakatao, I'm not even an American. And somebody could pull this off me.
Yeah.
But that's why I said, watch the class you mingle with. Because you don't know, you're not street smart. So when they're pulling off stuff on you, you don't know. Because you don't know things from the street. So I think I called the doctor. My blood pressure was extremely high. It was 200 and something, over 108. It was pretty high. And the doctor was like, we have to get that baby out of you. It's too dangerous. Go home, go pack, and come back. And I was like, okay, no problem. The doctor said, what happened? That we need to call the cops on him. And I said, no, still protecting him. I told the cops, no, we don't need to do that. It didn't do anything. But the lady that was in the house, she witnessed everything. She was on her knees begging me not to leave. Because you are few days from delivering. And how I did it, I don't know. But again, we put up a show at the C-section place at the hospital. It was a show. I don't know if you've ever heard or seen any woman dancing to the surgery to have a C-section. I was dancing. That's the kind of character I was. Dancing with him. And my family, my mom was behind me, my brother was there dancing, and singing. That's the kind of person I am. You would not know anything was going on.
Yeah.
Because that's what my family kept saying. But my mom said I would fight if you question anything. I would be like, nothing. Everybody should mind their own business. So we did that. So we kept putting on the show. So it's love you today, punch tomorrow. Love you today, slap tomorrow. Once the baby was born, I went back to work 8 days after the baby was born. I felt I was strong enough.
Mhm.
I got a very good contract with the court, and it wasn't a strenuous job. So I went back that quickly because we needed the money. He wasn't, you could not depend on him for money. And being that at that point, still paying the bills, he was taking money from my account. He was spending my money, I was paying the bills. I saw it as love. We're growing together, we're building foolishly. Today, I'll say foolishly, but then it was love. It was a relationship.
Wow.
We were building on. So my mother insisted before the baby was born that if you're not going to marry him white wedding, we must do a traditional. He didn't even have money for the bride price stuff. I told my mom, give him a break, give him a break. We will do all these things later. That was the kind of person I was. And so we were traditionally married, but court-wise, I was very hesitant. I was very hesitant because this was a man that had choked me.
Mhm.
And I always just had that sixth sense that if I marry him, he will kill me. It's just a matter of time. And he will get all my things. And the world will never know. That was just at the back of my mind. So that was the kind of relationship we had. It was putting up a show.
Sure.
And we just continued like that till the baby was born. We did the Somoloruko, the Yoruba way. And, but I think the baby was barely 2 months old. I was going to work that morning and I felt bad that why am I the one always waking up and going to work, leaving for work at 6 a.m. and the baby would be in the crib and the baby normally sleeps between us because this was a baby that would not leave me alone. That kind of, it wasn't colicky, but his behavior was colicky baby. He was that attached. So one morning, I had recorded all this on a videotape, but he destroyed it. One morning, was going to work, and I was like, "Why am I the one always waking up at leaving at 6, and you're just there with the baby? You know, it would be nice for us to leave because we are the nanny, so there wasn't any reason for anybody to be home." So as I said bye, standing by the mirror and the door, he didn't wake up. He didn't do anything. So there was something on the dresser. I threw it at him to wake him up. Mind you, my baby is beside him. So I wouldn't be that dangerous to throw anything that would injure him or the baby, because we had a different story later. This monster jumped out of the bed, chased me before I could get to the living room. Oh my God. Punched the living daylight out of me. Mind you, I just had a baby. Blood on my face, blood on my chest, blood on the uniform or outfit I was wearing to go to court that morning. And my now 8-year-old was screaming. I had the baby in May. Wumi turned 8 in February, and she was screaming. She's watching this monster punch me like Muhammad Ali. Don't let, like the way professional boxers would box in the ring. I could not believe it. I would run, he would come after me. I mean, decking, uppercut, jab, cross. Now, after taking boxing classes, I got to know that guy said he could have killed you. Head punches, like I'm trying to fight back. I can't because he's in a rage. So that was the second time I had seen that rage. But
I know there's something that they say that the way we bring out we can bring out the best in someone, and we can bring out the worst in someone. Would you want to say that maybe there's something you do or there's something that he has told you he doesn't like that you do? That
What I found out later on as a survivor, I went to therapy, psychiatrist, psychologist,
wow.
counselor. 5 years I've been through this journey to find myself. And I thought it was me. And the psychiatrist said, no, it's him. He's a sociopath. He's a sociopath. There was one other name. Ooh, that name escapes me. But it's a medical diagnosis. Ted Bundy had it, not just sociopaths. It's all about them.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely selfish. It's all about them or nothing. So I thought it was me. What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
So as they said, he had no control over me from the beginning. Mind you, I was working. Mind you, I'm making money. He's spending my money. I'm beginning to question why he's spending my money. He's sending money to his family. He's sending money to Nigeria like crazy. You could cut Western Union. You would think he owned Western Union. He said, well, you don't have anybody to send money to. All your family is here. And really, and I didn't have family in Nigeria that were send me money. They weren't like that. But his family was getting my money. And then, so as a survivor, that question now, no, he had no self-control and he was very intimidated by my personality, my strength, my audacity to be who I am. You know, those are the things that threatened them.
Yeah, because most women, believe that maybe they are the one, and other women make them understand that, oh, maybe it's you. There's something you do to upset him, or there's something, and some say, oh, maybe it's your stature. Maybe you suddenly lost something. Maybe people try to make the woman feel like she's the reason why someone is not behaving himself.
Yes, and that's the reason why I'm speaking up.
Yeah.
Or the few of us that are alive, that have gone through to that point that we had gotten to. This dude at this point was pulling out knives at me. Between that time, 2000, Faisal was born 2007. Between 2007 to 2017, I did not think that was a deadly move. Do you see it?
Wow.
It took a judge to say he was going to kill you. And I went like, oh my God.
You couldn't have imagined that, someone that lives with you, that claims he loves you and buys you flowers will be thinking of killing you. But
oh yes.
But we hear some of these stories.
Yeah, when you look at all those Nigerian nurses, women that were killed in Texas and around, and today is becoming a very common thing for Africans to be killing their wives. Don't talk about the ones that poisoned their wives. Those ones, probably autopsy were never done. But for those that blatantly shot their wife, knifed, stabbed them, and or punched them to death, that the authorities know about, you have to look at it and say, how? But you said you loved me. But you told me how much you loved me. And I even had your child. I thought he loved me. I was so impressed that he loved me. But then, by then I had started questioning. I told him in Yoruba one day, the slap, the punch that came after that, I fought back. But my daughter always said something, you're not strong enough, Mom. It's gonna kill you. Later on was when she could tell me these things, that she would see me fighting back, But blaming the woman is a society and cultural thing. It's like shaming her and saying, shut up, go back, shut up. A lot of our mothers and grandmothers suffered violence in the hands of their husbands, but they never spoke about it.
No.
They would tell you, what faramoni, We're not Yorubas, I mean, though, but we speak Yoruba a lot, and between Yoruba and English, we would speak those. And there was a lot of, you don't tell nobody. And that was how it started growing, the silence. And it became stronger with the silence.
Because you don't tell anyone because you want to preserve his prestige.
Yeah.
Make people see him, but
don't put your business out there.
Yes.
Don't put your business out there is the famous word. And then my chance to be able to counsel Americans, Caribbeans, professionals, because once people started hearing my story, as I was number 4 on the ladder of the health system I was working with. So I wasn't a staff nurse. I was in administration already. And for you to hear my story, it was shocking. Like, but you're normally very happy, very pleasant. You're very jovial, very kind, very giving. How could this be happening to you? And you did. I was living 2 lives. So in my home was fire. And the violence went on to the point that the glass decorations in the house were being broken. Not realizing that my daughter was being exposed to so much violence. We forget that the children are watching. By the time I realized the children were watching, it was way too late. The damage was so done.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the relationship up to 2007. Faisal was born. And then we continued. Then 2000, the violence escalated. I was having miscarriage after miscarriage. With him, I had 12 pregnancies. Wow. So if you have 12 pregnancies and you have only 2 living children, do the math. So much violence. Wow. But the shocking thing was, I think when 2000 and Aliyah was born 2009. 2008, it had gotten worse. I lost 3 babies between them. And the doctor kept asking, is there violence in your home? And I would be like, no. I would shake my head violently. No! Instead of that, yes. So the day that beating happened, there were holes in the wall from when I dodged. The punch went through the door, through the wall. That tells you that if that was my head that he had been punching, and then one of the punches went through, his fist went through the wall. My daughter at that point got the phone to call 911. He ran, laid on the ground. You know the way they dobale when they want to come and marry you? The way they prostrate on the floor. He did that and was begging us. I'm bleeding. Baby is crying. My daughter is crying, screaming. She did not make the school bus because it was so much blood. Blood on the wall, blood on the door, blood on the mattress, blood. You would think, I told her, don't call, he needs his green card. Do you hear foolishness? Yes.
It was kindness. It was not foolishness. It was just unfortunate that probably the wrong person was getting the kindness. Possibly.
Oh my God. So my daughter was like, Mom, how? We cleaned up the blood. My nose was swollen, blood in my mouth, blood clots was coming out. I had to take care of the baby. I think that was the day it should have all ended. But 3 months old baby, and I and the 8-year-old, we didn't walk away. We stayed.
So what would you, I'm thinking, like this school of thought that when a man is educated and enlightened and probably has a, profession or something, maybe he's more refined and probably would not act in a certain way, which I don't really believe. But what do you think? What do you think about, how was he? Was he a professional,
This was, I had dated Professionals. I was engaged, but I just was never ready. I was engaged to a medical doctor. We're all friends today. And sometimes I wonder what he thinks. He actually spoke to me. My ex-fiance is married, happily married. You never know what's going on inside somebody's house. But on the outside, he's happily married. His wife is wonderful and everything. We're all friends because we're all family friends. So that relationship wasn't going to end. He said he read my story and he was shocked. And he said, "How are you today?" And I was like, well, maybe I got what I deserved. Because when the great guy was around, I wasn't ready. There's something about getting ready, being right place, right time. Everything has to be right for everything to happen. The perfect storm was was the relationship I ended up with being abusive. It was the right time, right place, and right everything. He was dedicated. He went to University of Ilorin, right? And I had a lot of friends that went to University of Ilorin, including Idiagbon. So when you look at people like that, you would think, hey, if you go to university, they should be refined, right? Now, I went back with a psychiatrist and we concluded that fundamentally, the way you were raised, it starts from a very early age. The way a child is raised at home, those foundations, the first 5 years, very critical years. What they see, what they hear, what you do to them becomes the bedrock of their lives.
Mm.
So I thought education was fine then. Oh, he's educated. All these things can't happen. Wrong. Was he a professional? No. His obsession to have money was what I will always remember. He was hungry for money. And that's why I wasn't really too excited about that. I'd never seen somebody want money so much, you know? And
Are you
it
sure
was
you didn't have a
troubling.
family in Nigeria? Another family as a wife or something?
That's what a lot of people ask.
Oh.
Family was made up of, by the time I got to know him, he had a father. He had a father that had married a wife that was not educated. No insult. I found all this out when it was way too late. You understand? She wasn't educated. And he took a second wife that worked in the bank. And the father was an hotelier. He ran an hotel, I think those big hotels in Lagos. So I thought they were refined. Not understanding that it doesn't work that way. Now I know that it's the way the child was raised, the environment he was in. I was not in the picture. I didn't know I was ever going to run into him or meet him, but somebody had implanted something in him that beating a woman was nothing. He had no regard for women. Later on, I found out that he was in Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
If you notice, we've not said any name, and we would stay that way.
Yes.
I made it very clear to the children, we will not honor his name.
Yeah.
It would just be known as he, our abuser, because he did not only abuse me, the abuse now extended to my children to get back at me. That's another topic, you know, but if you come to look at it, it was that. How was he raised? He wasn't raised the way I was raised. Was violence around him?
Possibly.
What was his belief on how to treat a woman? Later on in 2016, December, January 2017, his parents came to America in 2016. And the way I now saw him interact with his mother, I should have left a long time ago if I had gotten that chance. I tell my children, when you start dating, when you have a boyfriend, look at the reaction the interaction between that person and the mother and the sisters with women says a lot. Then also as a boy, look at the girl too. The Nigerian girls that are committing violence today, they're old enough to be my children, because I'm in my 50s now. They're old enough to be my children. Why would a child stab a man? Why would a female stab a person they say they're having a relationship with? Again, it's the same violence upbringing. Mind you, in Nigeria, it's okay for you to beat a woman up and get away with it. Everybody tries and mind their business. I'm very glad today, Lagos State governor had passed a law against domestic violence.
Oh,
I found that last year.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I was very impressed. But how many women will make it to the police station?
Many of them don't.
In Lagos. And then how many women would have the chance to be protected?
No.
She needs the money. She needs the safety. And in Nigeria, men get custody of the children. So why would you want to leave your children? Like someone like me, I would, if we were in Nigeria, there was no way I was ever going to leave my children behind. So those are all the things that you have to look at. The shaming is the biggest part. People had said, oh, be quiet. Don't talk about him. Even my Facebook posting, I should take it down. If you notice, it's under privacy right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just because so much came as in, shh, be quiet. Again, I give credit to my husband, my present husband. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Someone that understands me. He understands I'm very bubbly, I'm full of life. And so therefore, you would hear him say, do what you could do for your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you can do to keep the kids happy. If he was threatened, I wouldn't be sitting here with you. You know? So when you look at all those things, background says a lot. Culture says a lot. Education, forget it. I had a medical doctor that I had to cancel. Our husband is a medical doctor. I even met a Nigerian woman that ran away from the South from a medical doctor husband. She took her 2 children and escaped to Pennsylvania.
Wow.
I did tell her I would not mention her name.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked. So this violence is the end result of all the domestic abuse.
Yes.
You have the financial, you have emotional, you have sexual, like you name it, it's there. But when it gets to violence, it's because they've completed every other step. It's a step. That's why when you tell a woman, leave, they go, no, 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 he's going to change. He's different. I'll pray for him. we would do this. Do that.
They ever change, do they?
No. That's why I sound very, probably someone said you're very cold with the way you say, leave. I said to someone, someone I mentored, and I said, leave with the first slap. Leave with the first punch. Leave when he starts shoving you physically. Run, because it's come too far, it's never going to change. It's not. Don't lie to yourself.
One of the things I would like to know is, I'm just trying to picture it. So by the time someone beats the wife or beats the partner, and then you can see that this person is unable to be at my level, physically fights you back. Is it that they become remorseful and then plead? Or is it that they just I'm just trying to understand the psychology. It must be a psychological problem.
But we will get to the part where when we went for counseling, right, darling? When we went for counseling for my own life, to save my life, he went into counseling after years of lying to us that he was saying a counselor. But I think when he now realized that I was leaving, we were done. Those are the most dangerous times. Him pulling the knife on me, it's escalated. that is when you will die.
When
I
you
didn't
say-
know.
When you say it's time to leave, they try to do everything.
Foolish. I need the psychiatrist watched the previous one and he said I shouldn't use the word foolish because you're not foolish.
No.
It was love. It was caring. As you said, it was kindness, but it was to the wrong person. So what I realized is that you can't change them, especially their family will lie for them. I wanted that. And then later on, I found that the brother had beaten the wife in front of me, pulled her with her hair, beat the living daylight out of her. Oh, that was when I knew I'm not the only one in this, but if you see them till today publicly, if you ever get a chance to, which you wouldn't know because I'm not mentioning names.
Oh, I don't even know them, so they were good together.
Yeah,
You admire them.
Yeah, she's a nurse today, and they look like the perfect family with their children.
Oh dear.
Perfect. I wouldn't give $1 million. You can't give me $1 million for me to want to know what's going on inside their house. I don't want to know. Now I see people, those perfect couples, the perfect couples, when children say, I want to be like them.
Yeah.
Or a woman is sitting at a party and says, oh, I want to be like Mr. and Mrs. Lagbaja, or Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I've gotten so much calls behind the scenes from these women that have suffered domestic violence, and my mouth drops. Because I would go like, I thought you guys had it together. He's a nurse. Oh, he's a doctor. Oh, he's a lawyer. He shouldn't be doing that. These are Nigerians. This is limiting it to just my people.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten these phone calls. And I'm like, is this for real? I stopped believing in that couple, that perfect couple you see, doctor and doctor, lawyer and lawyer, engineer and engineer, Mr. and Mrs. Oh, the lady owns a store. Oh, the doctor is this. The other is the doctor. She owns a business. Now lie.
Interesting.
I'm not painting everybody back, but for God giving me that grace to be alive is what has given me the chance to be able to say, look through the window where nobody is looking. And the things you would see, the things you will hear, unbelievable. So domestic violence is real. Surviving it is is by the grace of God. But if people like I and others that speak up, trust me. I want it to be as common as when you go to put on your seatbelt. You will know the signs and symptoms of domestic violence because it starts at a very young age. That boy that pushed that girl down, that boy that had no respect for that girl, that boy that beat up that girl mercilessly in secondary school, that girl that was all wild and beat up the boy, that girl that broke a bottle in secondary school, primary school, there are signs.
Yeah.
Go and look at how they ended up. There's violence within them, and children are not born with violence. They pick it up from their environment.
They pick it up, yeah.
Yeah, it starts from as early as in the womb.
Yeah.
They start hearing fighting conversation. Sometimes a baby will hear mom and dad fighting in the womb. And when that baby is born and it continues, the baby does not cry. The baby goes, yeah, they just go like, the baby already.
So where?
As you're exposed to it.
That's crazy.
So who are we lying to? We're lying to ourselves. The secret is not out until maybe the person, you see visible marks.
Unfortunately, some lose their lives before it gets out.
A lot. There was a lady that, another thing was when I was talking to not just my medical doctor, but what I did was now start asking professionals about this domestic violence thing, I survived in it. I walked away with high blood pressure, anxiety. I would think it was there. That was how my mind had fallen apart. I would see him, but nobody else could see him, standing by my door. I would see him with a knife. In my dreams, I would see him fighting me, trying to stab me. It was war. So between prayer, fasting, and other people praying with me, the doctors getting involved, psychiatrists, I dropped down. You have to surrender. You surrender to God and say, it's in your hands, Father, but I will not die. If anybody told me I would see my daughter clock 18, I would say it's a lie because of the violence. But God never fails. He created me. He wasn't ready for me to die. Premature death is not in my destiny. You know? So you have to really believe. But what it took a lot of prayers, fasting, a whole church praying for you, a whole pastor, like everybody on board. Because by then I really actually surrendered. I thought, oh, I'm going to die in Bluebell, Pennsylvania. Nobody's going to know, because I never told anyone. It was our secret in our home.
Yeah, of course, it's your business. It's your family business.
Exactly. And that's what people would tell you. His brother told me that. It's your business.
Some will tell you, what does God want it?
Yeah.
They're asking questions, does God want it?
Exactly.
And I'm like, have you asked the man if God wants what he's doing?
The beauty of life is when I got to a point, and in the Bible, it says, woman, be submissive to your man. Go read those lines before that. A man has to be submissive to God. But that part is very, very silent. You don't hear that part. So mine was, he answers to a God. Do you see that? Whether consciously or unconsciously, he answers to someone. So going back, when you talk about woman be submissive, oh my God, I became a submissive wife. I sometimes I wonder.
You're beaten into submission.
Yeah, I had been beaten, I had been worked, I had been verbally abused so much that I started believing everything he was saying. How ugly, your ugliness, your prostitute self.
That's terrible.
Your useless self.
Evil.
I react when men that said they love their wife call them prostitutes. You wonder, how could you call the mother of your children prostitute? The woman you said you love, prostitute. How? You never loved her. You never did. He never loved me. He never did. It was about the money. It was about the sex. It was about having children, as he said, as I told you earlier. As the relationship was falling apart, he said, let's have more babies. Let's work on having babies, because I know you love children so much. And I do. I love my children.
So that means for him, sex was like a way of making up with you after anything.
Yes. You know, I'm putting my business out there. I've come too far to go back. Yeah, sex was great, but it was mostly a makeup for the violence.
Yeah, makeup.
So women mistake that when they say, oh, we fought and the sex was great. Darling, it's part of abuse. It's the circle of abuse. Yeah. Let me make you feel good. Let me make you feel loved. And then you will come back and you would stay. I'm telling you, the things that we would go on a trip, we would fight, we would come back, we would make up. And my children are watching this, you know? My children are watching. By the time it dawned on me that my children were watching, fast forward to 2012. 2012, it was, it was horrible. 2012, everybody went their way. because this man refused to pay any bill. I think by 2011, 2012, he had finished nursing school. Mind you, my money, the children's time, my time was invested in this man. So he finished nursing school and refused to go work. Can you believe that? He sat at home, mumu, for this mumu woman to pay the bills. So I think I was paying. I was keeping up. I was paying because of my children. So something happened and I said, I'm not paying anymore. I'm not paying anymore. I refused to. Hell broke loose. Hell. And fortunately for us, he went his way. I went my way. I went back to New Jersey. And to God, I don't know why. I wanted to get my own place, but my family was insistent that I stay close to them so that this way, oh, you just don't go and get married to somebody else or get involved in another relationship. Yeah. Big mistake. I look back. Those were all the things that dragged it. It just dragged it. And that's why I tell people, run. It's not going to get any better. If it doesn't happen now, it will happen in your 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lady, I read her journal. If she ever watches this video, she left her journal at the job. And the journal was sitting there calling my name. Open me, read me. The things I read in this journal for a woman that was approaching 60 or was in her 60s, for her husband to still be able to slap her.
That's crazy.
I was like, this violence it doesn't stop. Don't lie to yourself. Yes, she has a successful medical doctor's son. You understand? It didn't change anything. So that's why I go back to education. Your professional level doesn't do it. I think it goes back to philosophy, principles, religion, fundamentals of how it was raised. The women put up with it because their mothers have taught them. We were beaten to, you just shut up and stay there. That's it. In the African culture. In Americans do it too. But in our culture, it's shut up, stay with it. Otherwise, you will lose your children.
Yeah, that was it. That's because probably in Nigeria, I think maybe in Nigeria, the man gets to have custody, right?
Yes, the man custody. It's a patriarchal society. And in America, the woman gets custody. I was in the right place at the right time for once. I'm very grateful to God. You know, because women, as women, I have to advise, listen to those jokes that men, your husbands, your children's boyfriends, listen to the jokes. Sometimes there are secret messages in those jokes. I learned it from this man. While I was still married with him, or rather, let me say, while we're Commonwealth husband and wife, he would make a joke of, oh, if you ever leave me and you dare to file child support, I will leave the country. And then I think when he became a nurse, he found out that he could not leave the country, that the American government will be waiting for you at the airport when you come back. So he would say to me, if you ever file child support, I will, you could get the child support, but I'll be having intercourse with you every time before you get the child support. Can you imagine such statements, right? As a joke. But he didn't know I was listening. And then I think I did mention how he would say if he had married somebody, he would want to marry somebody like Britney Spears. He said, let me say Yoruba, then I'll say it in English. Mama pretend that it's all about the money. owó tí ó lè tán. Now in English, if I were to be with Britney Spears, I would stay and fake and pretend and do whatever I have to do, because she's mega millionaire. The money will always be there. So I didn't have millions. I only had thousands. And it stuck with me. So talk less of Britney Spears. He will be holier than thou. He will try and control himself with the violence.
In other words, if it was someone very rich, he would go for it.
He would go for it. To the point that he would tell me that if we were ever to break up, he would marry a doctor, a medical doctor. He would make sure the woman can walk. I hope his new wife hears and sees this. He said to me, he would hope. No, his hope is any woman he's involved with must have money. If she doesn't have an inheritance, she must be able to walk.
Wow.
If she's not able to walk, she better be bringing money in one way or the other. I was, at that point, I knew the relationship was over. This was not somebody. As at 2012, I knew who I was dealing with. New Jersey was my escape to leave. But he came begging. I told you, he's a master beggar. Begged, walked his way back into my life and the children's life, brought us back to Pennsylvania.
I think that is a good place to stop for now.
Yes, back to Pennsylvania again.
But I'd like to, what can you give us 2 things you would like to leave us with today as a kind of instruction or advice or just something from your experience?
My advice with this particular meeting that we had, I would leave your audience or the audience with, be very consciously aware of every move your spouse makes. Consciousness of the mind. Be aware of where you are standing. Pay attention to everything your partner says. The reason why I'm saying partner is because there are women that are abusers too. And I know some, and I'm like, oh my God, really? But listen to everything they say. There's a code in their jokes. There's a code in their there's a message. So I tell my children, as I tell everyone that is old enough to be my children, that are about my children's age, be aware. I told my daughter once, if you go to your boyfriend's house, go look at the medicine cabinet, see what medication they are using, see how he interacts with his mother. If the mother is dead, see how he interacts with his sisters. If there are no sisters, see how he interacts with other women. Don't allow them to put up a show because they're great show people. Oh my God. You understand? Be consciously aware. That's my youngest is 11, and I tell her she's the one that will tell you, Mom, that dude looks like 419. 419 lover. But that's where we're coming from. 419 lover. That's actually, and we call ourselves 499, the ones that can pick the 419s up. You got to be, don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to leave. Leave. You're safer leaving. Let people laugh about you. You may not be able to talk, but if you're not careful, it's either you're going to be set back in life or you'll be killed. It's 2 ways. I'm going through it. You have to start the process of building up a life all over. And again, as I say at the end, I'm very grateful to the wonderful husband I have today. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak up. Thank you for being a man that you are. Thank you for being so confident of you knowing your position beside me and allowing me to be and allowing my children to be. I'm very grateful. So I pray most women will come across such a man. Only I came across him in my 50s. I should have married him in command.
Never too late.
No, I should have married him in command, Yes. The first time I saw him, I should have said, marry me. But to God all the glory. Thank you very much, Moji. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for taking our time to be on the show again and express yourself. This is very bold of you. And I said, yeah, I believe that more women will be strong enough and be bold enough to know. And, as somebody said, define what they can accept from the beginning.
Yes.
Before, because if you do that, sometimes it helps you.
Guess what? While you said that, I thought what I couldn't accept was a man having multiple wives. I had no problem with that. That was what I would say. Or if you're going to have other women, I cannot be with you. You understand? Not knowing that wasn't the danger.
Oh, small thing compared to
that
what
was not. So women, men say, I will not accept violence or abuse. Say it so the person can hear. That's what I would say to that line. Like, oh, no, let me make myself clear. Are you a violent person? Have you been around violence? Would you beat a woman up? Those pivotal, daring questions.
Yeah.
Say a lot with that one. Yes.
Wow, we can go on and on. Well, we'll be back. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. And then I believe that in the next 2 weeks, we would have the next session.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. And thanks for watching. Beautiful, beautiful neighborhood anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I should be there someday.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye. Bye.